Hey everybody, Rubellia here with another tutorial on 7 Days to Die. Today we're going to be looking at the mods used for your bows, your melee weapons, and your drones. Okay, so in the last tutorial we talked about your rifles, your shotguns, your handguns, and the modifications used for them. Today we're going to start talking about your bows, your melee, and your drones. Now, in my personal opinion, the bow is the best ranged weapon, especially early game, because it is virtually silent. The ammo takes little to nothing to make, and they're really easy, and you can recover your ammo most of the time. About 75% of the time, in my opinion. I mean, your arrows are going to break, your bolts are going to break, but at the same time, you're not going to recover your bullets, whereas you can recover arrows and bolts. So that is something to consider. And you start out, one of the beginner quests of this game is to make a primitive bow. So we all know how to make that. But then you have your wooden bow, your compound bow, your iron crossbow, and your compound crossbow. So these are the mods that these bows will work with. Now your primitive bow, it does 43.5 damage, plus 200% if you're sneaking while you do it, so you're crouched. Your wooden bow does 52 damage, so already you're talking an extra 8 damage. Your compound bow is going to do 65 damage. So that's already, my gosh, the Desert Vulture does 99 damage, so this almost does as much as the Desert Vulture handgun. So that's something to consider, and it does more damage than the 9mm pistol. So, like I say, something to consider. Your iron crossbow does 73 damage. Your compound crossbow does 94. So, you're looking at quite a bit of damage at a much quieter range. So, much less likely that you're going to wake up sleeping zombies and attract unwanted attention. Now, all of your primitive bows, whatever you want to call them, your primitive, your wooden, and your compound bow will work with your arrow rests. The arrow rests will improve your accuracy. The hunter mod increases your damage to all animals, such as wolves and boars and bears, by 25%. Your polymer string mod, arrows and bolts fly quicker and further with this modification, so you're talking a lot more range. And then you have the blessed metal mod, which increases your damage to undead targets. In my opinion, that would be one of the best mods in the game, but I have yet to find it in my adventures. So these are the arrows you can work with. You start out with your stone arrows, then you move to the iron arrows, your steel, your flaming arrow, and your exploding arrows. All we gotta do is look up arrow. Now, okay, here we go. Your flaming arrow, you have to get your Ranger's Guide to Archery Volume 5. Okay, so those are the books you find randomly in the world. Then it takes steel arrowheads, scrap polymers, gunpowder, cloth fragments, and animal fat to make them. Surprisingly, even though these are arrows, they do not require any wood. So that's kind of surprising. And alright, you need your Ranger's Guide to Archery Volume 2 to make your exploding arrows, which basically is a piece of dynamite on an arrow. Again, no wood is required, but the only difference is instead of the animal fat and the... what was the other one? Yeah, instead of the cloth fragment and animal fat, you need duct tape. So, these actually require quite a bit when you consider the steel arrowheads. But the other stuff is so easy to find, it's ridiculous. Your stone arrows, as we all know, require little to nothing. Your iron arrows, little to nothing. And then your steel arrows, again, little to nothing. It doesn't even require wood. It's just the steel arrowhead and some scrap polymers. Now, the higher the level of arrow, so you got your stone, then your iron, then your steel, the stronger the arrow is going to be. So you're going to do more damage, and it's going to fly straighter. So that pretty much does it for the bows, I think. Now, every one of them I will show you. I tend to use the compound bow just because I'm not a big fan of crossbows. I mean, you can use them. They do a lot more damage. They are a lot more accurate and everything. I'm old-fashioned, I guess. So, the way you're going to modify a bow... Let me grab these off. Okay. The way you're going to modify a bow, or anything in this game, is you're going to click on it in your inventory, then you're going to hit Modify. Now, every one of them is going to have this cosmetic slot, which is where you can put dyes in order to color your weapons or tools or etc. Now, the level of weapon that you have is also going to be very important, because that's going to tell you how many modifiers you can put on it. So this is a level 6, the highest level you can get, therefore I have all the modifier slots. Now, as I said, every one of them is going to have the cosmetic, but if you have a weapon or tool that is only level 1 or 2, you're only going to have 1 modifier slot. Levels 3 and 4 have 2 modifier slots. Level 5 has 3, and level 6 has 4. So that is something to consider. Now, I believe this you can put all 4. Oh, okay, you can't put the bless thing on here. Alright, what's... Okay, it's not that one. Okay, so it won't work with the hunter mod. Okay, so yeah, some of them are going to conflict like that to where you can't put them all on there. That's okay. Not really sure. To me, they ought to make more mods for the bows. But now, either you can go up here and hit complete, or you can hit your inventory button again and it'll close that. Okay, so when you're trying to aim your bow, I need an arrow. Just grab that. Okay, we hit our reload button. Oh, okay, we gotta hold down the reload button. That's how you switch between your arrows or your bullets. So we put our thing on here, and we aim. Now you can see that with the arrow rest, you can see that on the bow around my arrow. The string is also different because we got that polymer string. And then I'm not sure, but I think the blessed metal is actually the bow itself. I'm not sure though. Okay. I don't know if there's a... Wow, that was something. Okay, I don't even... I wish there was a way to like unarm the bow. And so I'm not sure what the metal does per se, but let's pull that off and put our hunter thing on. Oop, bing. Let me grab a regular stone arrow, and we'll do that. Okay. So again, I don't see a cosmetic difference when it comes to the hunter thing. I think it just, the extra damage. So, and now another thing is like I'm holding down left click to aim my bow, but if you hold down your right click at the same time, you're going to zoom in. So that is something, because you can get a lot more accurate of a shot. Okay, now on to your melee. Now with the melee, you're going to have your different types of knuckles. So your leather knuckle wraps, your iron knuckles, and your pipe baton. Sorry. The other knuckles is going to be your steel knuckles. Okay. But then you've also got your pipe baton and your stun baton. Then you've got the different levels of stone sledgehammers. And so you got your stone, then your iron, your steel, etc. Then you have, these are the clubs that are in 7 Days to Die. Now you have your wooden club, your candy cane club, which I'd like to know where the heck they got that, your baseball bat, and then you have your steel club. These are the mods that all of these melee weapons will work with, okay? Oh, and you also have your iron and steel spears. I think there's also a stone spear, but anyway. So, that's the weapons. These are the common mods. Your stun baton will also work with the stun baton repulsor. Okay, and this sends zombies flying on the charged hit. Okay, so with a stun baton, you have to hit the zombies a few times, but then you'll see this electricity show up on, like, staying on the baton. And then when you hit the zombies, it electrifies, and that's when this mod will take effect. Okay. So, Your knuckles, they don't really use any extra mods other than these. I never use the knuckles. Just not me. Your steel knuckles, however, can also work with the serrated, tempered, and diamond blade mods. Because as you can see, you've got actual blades on the knuckles themselves, so you're like Wolverine from X-Men. Then you have your sledgehammers. Now, the sledgehammers, in my personal opinion, they're not the greatest when you're talking going up against zombies. Now, if it's only 1 or 2 zombies, okay, fine. But they're very slow to swing, so yeah, they can possibly kill the zombies in 1 hit, but at the same time, you're talking very slow rate, so you better not be up against a bunch of zombies. These are better, in my opinion, for like breaking down doors. But again, that's my opinion. Now, the sledgehammers will also work with the burning shaft mod, which basically makes it where your weapon will look like it's on fire all the time, and you can set fire to your enemies. And once you set fire to your enemies, then they're taking fire damage as well. So that is an extra perk to it. Your clubs, which is like the main melee damage that melee weapon that I use. Your wooden club, we all know how to make those. That's one of the quests in the start. It will also work with your burning shaft, your metal chain, your barbed wire, and your spikes. These are really good mods. In my personal opinion, like I say, I use the club all the time. My favorite, absolute, is the baseball bat. I wish they had a steel version of the baseball bat instead of it just being basically this pipe with a bunch of gears on it. I don't really like the looks of it. I much prefer the look of the baseball bat. Especially, I'll show you what I mean here in just a moment. Then you have your iron spears. These are kind of, in my opinion, they're kind of halfway between a club and the sledgehammers, because they're slower like the sledgehammers, but you're doing a lunging effect as well. So they're a little bit quicker, and they don't do quite as much damage as the sledgehammer. But I'm not very big on it, and I'll show you the animation as well. But the spears, understandably, also work with the blade mods, and they can also work with the burning mod. I personally do not see why they work with the Gravedigger, the Bunker Buster, Iron Breaker, and the Wood Splitter. The Wood Splitter, you do 15% more damage against wood. I could see that for the sledgehammers. The Gravedigger, you do more damage against dirt. I don't really get why that's even on these. Your Bunker Buster, that makes complete sense because you're doing more damage against stone. So if you're trying to break into a bunker or something, yeah, I get it on the sledgehammers. And then your Iron Breaker, you do more damage against iron. Again, that makes sense against the sledgehammers. All of these make sense, truthfully, with the sledgehammers, but I don't get why all of these also use that. So that's just my personal opinion. Now, your Rad Remover mod, that's going to make it to where your radiated zombies, which are those green, glowy zombies that are such a pain in the butt to kill, this Rad Remover mod is going to make it to where they don't regenerate their health for a short period of time, making it a lot easier to kill them. So that is something I highly recommend putting on your weapons. I'm actually looking forward to using it on my own weapons in my own adventure. Your Ergonomic Grip, that decreases the stamina that's used for melee by 10% and increases your weapon handling of bows by 10%. Bows? Oh, I did not realize these would work with bows. Okay, so good to know. Good to know. At least the bows were in this video. Okay, your Fortifying Grip mod, when health is below 50%, you gain 1 hit point every 5 seconds. So basically this gives you a small amount of regen. Okay, your Structural Brace mod, modification for melee weapons and tools, lowers degradation by 25%. So it's going to take a little bit longer for your tools and weapons to break if you have this on them. So that, and then you got your Heavy Head mod, which basically you have an extra chance to stun and slow your victims down. So you're essentially making the head of your weapon a lot heavier, which is why it does not work on knives. But yet it works with the spearhead. I don't get that. Okay. Anyway, so that's going to cover your melee weapons. I did not have the machete in here because it is also, in my opinion, a tool, because you can use that to carve up your animals and such rather than it just being a melee. So I believe I added it into the tools video, which will be coming up, I believe, next week. I actually forgot I was going to show you what I meant about the baseball bat, and then I also promised to show you the spearhead, or the spear animation. So let's start with the spear. The spear, you can see it's a little unwieldy in my opinion. I mean, it just looks like it's hard to wield. But if you do a left click, see what I mean? You're doing a lunge. So it's not bad. Right click, you can also throw the spear, and then this little yellow thing will also show up in your compass and in real life to show you where the spear is. And you can pick it back up. So that is a nice feature. Let's see. Yeah, that's it. You hold it down, and then you can throw it a lot further. So you hold down right click until you fill that bar up, and it'll throw your spear a lot further and probably end up doing a little bit more damage. Okay, so going with the weapons, this is the baseball bat. It looks simple, it doesn't look anything, great or whatever. And then this is your steel club, which to me just looks like a metal pipe with a bunch of gears attached to it in order to do more damage and add weight to the head of it. It's great, I mean, you're being resourceful and all this stuff. It's just not my thing. Now, I've already shown you guys how to add mods, but I want to show you. Okay, see, either you can use the chain or you can use the barbed wire or the metal spikes. You can't use all of them. Or is it this? Okay, yeah, it is the chain that's causing. Okay. Used to, you could add the chain and the barbed wire thing, or maybe it's these two. Anyway. So now you've got a flaming baseball bat that has a chain wrapped around it, increasing the amount of damage it does, and it also doubles as a torch. And let's see, does this... okay, it does work with those as well. Okay, good to know, good to know. Okay. And see that, I mean, the fire is cool, but to me the chain just doesn't fit. Not on that. Alright, so let's pull that off. Do that, and then let's go back to our baseball bat. I'm keeping the fire on there. Oh, really? You can't put the spikes on there? Oh, come on. Alright, fine. Okay, here's with the barbed wire. Now to me that looks awesome, and if you're a Walking Dead fan, this would be your Lucille, just with the added fire touch. Because Lucille, Negan's weapon, was just a baseball bat with a bunch of barbed wire wrapped around it. So that is, if you're going for the memes, that is something to consider. You can pull the barbed wire off and put spikes on it, and looky there. Now we have flaming spiked baseball bat, which in my opinion, it looks much cooler than the steel club. So, I mean, that's me, And right now with these two mods, I'm doing 29 melee damage for a regular hit, and a power attack is 46. So it's not bad. Okay, so let me pull these off. And we'll modify this, and let's see what this looks like. So, okay, the barbed wire fits a little better than the chain did on this. Still just not my style. I mean, it's to each their own. Just like I say, it's not my style. Bikes look a little awkward, especially that bottom one. And like I said, it's just my opinion, but to me that bottom one especially just looks like it would slide up and down the club. It's just whatever you want it to do. Okay, so last but not least, we are going to look at the drones. Now, if you do not know anything about the drones or haven't heard of them for 7 Days to Die, you're in for a real treat. So this is your drone. Now it can do a lot of different things depending on what mods you give it. So it can hold a few items for you, but if you add this cargo mod to it, that's going to increase your storage capacity so it can hold more items. Now it also has a robotic morale booster, which increases your stamina regeneration by 10%. So it's going to be a little bit harder to run out of stamina if you're near the drone with this mod on it. Now your drone medic mod, that's going to modify your drone into a robotic field medic that will automatically heal you as long as medical bandages or first aid kits are in its inventory. So as long as you've got first aid bandages or med kits, first aid kits, whatever, inside of this drone storage and have this mod installed on it, then it's going to automatically heal you. So that's pretty nice. Then the armor plating mod, that's just going to make it to where the zombies can't hurt it as easily. You're reduced damage and degradation by 50%. So that increases its defense. Then you have the headlamp mod. Adds a headlamp to your drone to improve visibility in dark spaces. So we're going to pull this out and let's modify this. See, we could put all of these on. They're all compatible. So let's see. Let's take the storage mod off first and we'll see how that looks. Now, just like anything else, you do have the cosmetics, so you can dye this drone different colors. So what you're going to do is you're going to hold it in your hand, you're going to right click, and then it's going to appear, where you can set it down. I'm going to set it right here.
Powering up. All systems go.
So this is our little drone. You can see the little doll head on it. Now
great to see you, Master.
You interact with it. May I see your inventory? Stay here or never mind. So go see your inventory. See, it only has 2 rows of space. However, you can hold down your interaction button. Now you've got all these different options. You can tell it to stay quiet, turn on the flashlight, have it talk, or you can talk to it, which is basically what happens when you first click on it. You can open the storage, tell it to stay here, pick it up, enter a code to lock it so other people have a hard time accessing it, and it's automatically locked. So if you're playing with another player and you want them to be able to access your drone to, say, store supplies so that you can do a raid and combine supplies, you're going to have to tell it to unlock it, which is simply holding the button down, hovering your mouse over it, and letting go. Now it's unlocked. So if I go ahead and I take it...
sure. Pack me in a box like your other old things.
It does have a few comments and jokes. It's a little bit sassy at times. So let's modify this. Let's take that part out. Let's add the storage and the defense. And let's put it back out. Okay, let it raise back up.
It is good to be online.
So now you can see it's got a little bit of a cage around it, and you can see the little box it's carrying underneath. So let's go
ready
ahead.
for duty.
Go ahead and open up storage. Now you can see you got an extra row of items that you can hold. So it's very helpful. You just got to kind of pick and choose which mods you want to use with it. Because, you've got 5 mods, but only 4 slots that you can use with the level 6. So that's the main thing. Now, something that is useful, especially for this, is that when you have zombies coming up nearby, maybe you don't see them, but this little thing will make a comment about to alert you to the zombie, such as, "Master, we are not alone," to let you know, hey, you got an enemy around here, or it'll tell you to prepare for battle. Or, as I say, if you put it on quiet mode, then it's not going to talk to you. So that is something to kind of consider. I hope this was very helpful for you guys and that you learned something from it. And if you do, be sure to leave it down in the comments. And if there's any other tutorials you'd like to see me post up, be sure to leave those down in the comments as well. I'm always looking for new ideas on what people are trying to figure out. So I will see you guys in the next episode of Thirsty Tutorials.